But in the short term, one game left in the regular season, potentially some playoffs, can Ben Arbuckle figure things out for the Oklahoma Sooners offense?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, Jay, the offense has been the biggest topic of discussion over the last month and a half or more since basically the Texas game, when things kind of revealed itself to not be efficient, not be super good offensively. Yeah. That's terrible English, but that's the phrase that came to my mind.
We'll go for it.
Can we get this thing turned around against what's going to be a good LSU defense to get Oklahoma into the playoff and then hopefully make some noise?
So let's define turnaround, because I think that's the one thing that a lot of fans want to. I went through and looked at some of the numbers. Turned up, so I went through and looked at some of the numbers. I went through some of the advanced numbers for this team. I started looking at the raw stats just to see the offense is better than it was last year statistically.
Yes.
We're surpassing everything that we did last year for the most part, except for run yards. But there's a possibility we could do that. But overall, this offense is better.
Yeah.
But we ain't going to beat them no different than what we are right now. I'm just going to tell you now, no, we're not going to figure anything out. Nothing will be figured out. This offense is going to be what it is. It's going to do everything it needs to help win these games. Let me explain what I mean. Brent Venables went on a 5-minute rant during the presser talking about him and communicating with his coaching staff, and he does on the sideline. Hey, Ben, this is what we need. Get us this, get us that. Let's focus on this, focus on that. His entire goal is don't screw up what this defense has created for you and try to just keep yourself on the field as long as possible. Sustain drives. You get a big play, cool, but don't push it now. Right now is not the time to push it. Right now is the time for you to just sustain drives and keep burning clock. So far, we've done that. So, with that point being, it appears that this entire goal is to make this 100% complementary offense, or complementary ball on both sides of the ball. So, John, I don't know why we even going to be stressing about this, because it's not going to be any different. Just accept it. Accept it this season. We'll refresh things in the transfer portal. You're going to see a whole bunch of changes. I promise you, a bunch of changes. And then next year, we can judge it. Just right now, ain't going to be no better.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and expect all of a sudden Oklahoma's going to go out and score 40 against LSU or start putting up big numbers in the playoff. If they win any games in the playoff, it'll be like what we've seen the last few weeks. 23-21, 17-13, 27-24. That kind of game where you'll get just enough offensively. You'll get some good special teams performances. You'll get maybe a defensive turnover that puts you in position to score. You're going to get that. I truly believe that. This team is going to be able to get enough, and the defense isn't going to play any offenses that can just run away from them.
No.
I truly believe that as well. So you're going to be in some tight ball games. So you do need to have an offense that's willing to play complementary ball, willing to live to fight another day, willing to understand that a punt is a good play, especially with this defense. So I'm okay with that. Just want to see a little bit more just connectivity. When John Mateer throws a deep ball, hey, keep throwing them. Listen, if you don't complete them, okay, it's better if you complete them, obviously, but just keep throwing them, because you will get one. You're not gonna get a deep ball if you don't throw a deep ball. So you got to keep throwing them, because Isaiah Satania, Deion Burks, they will get behind the defense and they will create a big play if you just hit them. So you got to throw it. Trying to feed Isaiah Satania. I think that's an element that has to get better. Find a way to get him the ball more. Find a way to get your dynamic playmakers the ball more.
No, I 100% agree. And I think the most interesting stat that I came across when doing all of these numbers and crunching them and everything is that the defense's field position start is rated at number 1 in the country.
And that's awesome.
So basically, the offense may sputter, but they do a really good job of making sure the defense has a good starting position when they're playing defense against other teams.
Yep.
That, to me, might be the most important thing there, because when we put the defense in a position where they're in a good spot and they force 3 and out or a 6 and out or even a 9 and out, you're going to get the ball back in a good spot. And our offense has shown that it can drive out of an end zone. It can get you a few plays. It kind of sputters out about half midfield, but that doesn't matter. As long as it's driving out and it's burning some clock, that's all you're going to need to do against some of these big games. You're going to have to be very careful when you get, if we win this game, it's LSU, we should, but if we win this game, I'll maintain the ifs just to be, respectful.
Right.
But you get past this, you make it to the playoffs, those playoff games are going to really be about a game of inches. And so far this season, this defense and this just team in general has shown you they can win at the inches game. It showed you against South Carolina, showed you against Alabama, showed you against Tennessee. They're able to win in the game of inches portion of it. And that, to me, is the most important part. As long as this defense can force a team to stay under 20 points, under 30 points, this team has shown that they can outscore other teams. That's what matters. The end result is who has the most points.
Yep. And so far, in 9 games this year, Oklahoma's had the most points.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Again, they were right there with Ole Miss, had an opportunity. Unfortunately, Isaiah Satania fumbled the ball. John Mateer missed some open throws to an Isaiah Satania. Against Texas, they let the third quarter kind of get away from them. The refs, blocks in the back, completely ignored. So this team is not as far off in those 2 losses as maybe a lot of people want to make it out to be. This team has found enough plays offensively. It just has to be just a little bit better, just convert a few more third downs, extend drives a little bit further, get into the opponent's side of the 50 just a little bit more. Because if you do that, you're going to have a great chance to set up a field goal for Tate Sandell.
Yeah.
Lou Groza finalist, Tate Sandell. So just a little bit better. I mean, again, I don't have high expectations. Just get a little bit better. If you can get a little bit better, man, that takes this thing to a different level.
One of those things you can definitely do when you're playing against some of these other teams, for example, like an Ohio State, if you were to match up with them, if you make it into the playoffs, you win the first one and you fight them in the second game, right? You fight them in the second round, somewhere, the Cotton Bowl or whatever. You want to drag Ohio State into the mud just like Michigan did. Michigan beat them 13-10 last year. That was their second loss, and it was one of those struggle bus games for Ohio State. And it was one of those like, man, that was just not a good game. You couldn't. But from there, they kept it. It was close with them in Texas. And then, Ohio State's defense turned up more than Texas defense could. Same thing on the Notre Dame game. Now, they're going to be able to score points. There's a possibility. All of these teams have the possibility. But this defense has shown against teams that can score points, we can stop them from doing that. That's all you got to do. That's your focal point. Your focal point the entire way on this team is drag them into the mud and make them fight you down there. That's it. If you can do that, the defense has proven it. I guess for me is everyone's saying, oh, we'll never be able to win a shootout. Who says it's going to become a shootout?
Right. Yeah, I don't believe anything's going to become a shootout. Like, I don't think Notre Dame gets you into a shootout. I don't think Ohio State gets you into a shootout. I don't think Julian Sand wants to see Oklahoma's defense. No. The closest shootout you had was Ole Miss. And it was Ole Miss. You had a chance. Yeah. You actually took the lead. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you took the lead, and then you had several opportunities in the fourth quarter to get back in the lead game again, or to tie the game, and just couldn't come up with it. Just couldn't come up with enough plays. But again, I go back to this last year where we're looking at Will Howard and Riley Leonard in the college football playoff national championship game. And who among us would have looked at them at Kansas State and Duke and thought, yes, those are national championship quarterbacks. Right. And along the way, Riley Leonard wasn't like great and, throwing for 300 yards and blowing the doors off of everybody. No, he was playing John Mateer ball, to be honest, and just playing good complementary football and letting Notre Dame's defense control games. And that's the formula. That's the recipe for Oklahoma is play complementary. Don't mess it up offensively. Find a big play here and there and just get enough points. And they're capable of that.
They can do it. We've seen it. That's all that matters.
Here we go. The Oklahoma Sooners in the college football playoff rankings. Where do they stand? We'll discuss. And man, why are BYU fans and Big 12 fans so mad